All right. Let's see. We are live. Just got to make sure. Oh, yeah, we are totally live. Um, let's see. Starting. Cool. We pop the chat out. Yes, sir. All right. So, actually, real quick, let me just make sure the sound is good to go. Audio. Yeah. All right, I think we're good. Oops. All right. So we're gonna make this video simple. Um, we're gonna look at the daily time frame. We are going to see what type of pullback we might expect to get on Bitcoin. As you can see, we are currently experiencing some type of pullback. Then we're going to zoom in to the 4-hour intraday time frames. Show you what I think is developing. Then we'll zoom out to the weekly because it'll actually explain a time frame. As far as the weekly will actually explain things that I see on the 4 and the 1 hour. Then we're going to go, I guess we'll give like a quick mini lesson on I don't even know, Chuvashaw forks. I don't know, I'm not Russian, so we're just gonna call them C forks because somebody asked me about that. And then we're gonna do some basic stuff that you really should do before. Actually, you know what? Because I said that, we are going to do it before. So we're going to do the basics first, which are identifying trend and identifying support and resistance. And I think that's it. I think that's the last thing we're going to cover. All right, so let's first trend clearly down. Just makes it easy for us. Trend on the weekly. Let's see. High. And then set a low. Mind you, this is the run up after. This is after the run up to 20K. Lower high. Lower low. All right. And then from there, we can pretty much copy and paste. I say this every video, but I feel like I need to reiterate. If you want to use this wick as your low and say that, okay, we didn't set a lower low, we set a higher low here and then a lower low, do whatever the fuck you want. I most certainly am not going to let that outrageous wick ruin a perfectly good chart. That is clearly illustrative of a downtrend. We're clearly going down. I mean, just turn log off. And I mean, what? We're going down, okay? So trend weekly is going down. Cool. Daily, again, going down. Can't even really put a solid trend line on it just because it's so steep. Things that you can use to identify the trend. EMAs, like the 12 and 26. Bearish cross here. Point it down. Below the 200 daily EMA. Bearish. Look at the guppy if you want on the daily. Flipping bearish. All right. Below it. You can look at GAN fans if you want. Below the 1/1 line. Bearish. Okay. Cool. So I think we've established trend as far as macro, weekly, and a little more of the short to mid-term in the daily. Long term, like super long term, on the order of months and years, bullish. But I mean, there's just so much shit that happens in here. Like, I don't know, if you're only trading, maybe once a year, sure, whatever. But yes, so that is it for the daily time frame. next thing that you want to mark out after you do trend, and we're going to do this with each video because it's just good practice. And you really have to get in the habit of it. Marking out support resistance. Most immediate support. Let's see what we have here. I'm trying to figure out the best way to mark it. I guess that's where the daily close and you get this interaction here. I like this. I like this line for my support and resistance. You see a touch here, nice little touch here. Again, support here, resistance here, boom, support here, boom, support, support, right? Holding price up. It's actually been touched at support 1, 2, 3 times. And so we might be wary of multiple touches of it. Resistance line. We're going to start off with lines, then we're going to do the blocks. Resistance line, I think is decently clear to be we're going to go with here. I kind of wish it was a little higher, so I want this wick. I want that wick on it. That's why I'm kind of struggling right now. Well, shit, what happens when we put that right there? I don't really like cheating it like that. So we're just going to, that level, resistance, kind of tried to hold up a support, couldn't, dumped, broke it again, and then touched that resistance there. So this is kind of like our very immediate support and resistance. Immediate support. Immediate resistance. As far as zones, order blocks, whatever you want to call them, this is a little simpler. Actually, I want to make this purple too. But yeah, clearly there, that's resistance. Bearish order block, dumped, resistance, resistance, pop, broke it, support briefly, very briefly, dumped. And now if we come back up to it again, we expect it to be resistance. Support, as far as an order block is concerned, you actually kind of have to go to the 4 hour, which has a good one. So we want to take this down candle right before this large pump because it really captured price very well. Right, so this candle, boom, popped up, large bullish volume here, came back again, caught it, more volume, pumped us out. Haven't touched it since. So if we end up coming down back here again, we would expect price to hold here. Okay? Or at least a small bounce. And if we obliterate it and go straight through it, then you would for sure want to start putting your short orders there. Okay, that's pretty much what we're looking at. So we've identified the trend. We've identified support and resistance. We're currently bouncing off this support. We haven't really touched a resistance level that we might want to trade. Whatever. Cool. Next thing, you see we're starting to pull back. Ever since this down move started, I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 black candles going down. Very small consolidation for about 2 days. But even with this 1, 2, 3 increasingly expansive spreads on down candles, good little immediate reaction. Had another large down candle, and now we've been pulling back for 1, 2, 3 days on low volume with a lot of upper wicks, a lot of selling. People are doing a lot of selling here and getting good deals on their selling too, considering how far we've dumped. Excuse me. So that should that's something you want to pay attention to. Your question should be, how far are we going to pull back? And in this case, a pullback is to the upside. Well, Mark out your resistance levels. We could pull back here and touch this. We could pull back here and touch this. There's some support right here. We could pull back. This might be the, you know, the top of the pullback. We might actually not go higher than about 6.4, 6.5. You can look at volume profile. Right? Where we have resistance here at about 6.3, 63.50. You got resistance here at about 64.80. You got resistance here at about 67.25, 66.7, whatever. So you might expect, you might expect your pullback to be, you know, anywhere right here. You might want to put short orders, depending on what you see for more zoomed in time frames, which we'll get to. You can fib it out if you want to know kind of like where the pullback might be. Because we've dumped so hard, I highly doubt we retrace 50%. So with that, you're probably going to want to put on your 23.6 and 38.2 fibs. You can see the 23.6 aligns really well with resistance that we've actually already marked out by ourselves. And so that's actually pretty interesting. I never used 23.6, but that is a natural fib ratio. So that might be where you want to put some short orders. And I mean, your play, depending on if you're swing trading, day trading, position trading, I don't know. Your entry would be around here, and your stop would most certainly depend on what type of trader you are and what your risk profile looks like. I can't answer that for you. I would not take a trade specifically off of this. Well, maybe I would. Hold on. I like my stops under 3%. So if I'm taking a trade right at the 23.6, I might put my stop there above this high volume node. Hopefully we gap here and don't cross it. But if we closed somewhere up here, I might even, you know, close my position early. But this is what a short trade might look like for me if I wanted to play the 23.6 Fibonacci level, which I don't usually do. And so yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at for pullbacks. You might actually want to zoom into, maybe there's a better fib in here. And so we've all, well, no, ever since we touched here, we haven't pulled back to the 50. And you see some of the deeper retracements. Well, actually the 50 aligns really well with, again, the resistance we already drew. And that resistance is actually in the middle of 61.8 and 50. So if you're looking for a trade zone, maybe you want to trade within or enter a short within this block, right? Between the 50 and 61.8 and the resistance that we've already marked out. And maybe your short order will look something like this. You'd probably have 3 orders at the 50, at your resistance line, at 61.8, or you'd layer them. I mean, there's a number of different strategies to get into a trade. And then your stop would, of course, you'd probably have your last order at 61.8, and your stop would be somewhere above this zone, for sure. Because if we go this high up, then it's kind of like, okay, did your resistance really hold whatever line you thought was resistance? And of course, if you ladder them, I mean, you might end up getting an average that's higher up in the block. And so that allows you to loosen your stop a little more. And so, I mean, a trade could look like this. It's an opportunity there. I already covered like how to get long in the last video, so I'm not gonna go over that again. All right, cool. So I think I talked about kind of like the pullback and what we could kind of expect. Definitely wouldn't expect a pullback over this area, right? If we retrace this high, I mean, we're probably this is probably bullish. I don't even know, so like a bull. Cow. Oh yeah, for sure. Right. If we retrace that high up, then we're probably looking at some type of bullish scenario. All right, that's pretty much good to go. Next thing I want to show you all is this Wyckoff range. I was very reluctant to draw it, but then I kind of did some more research because, I mean, I don't know everything. I do generally like to draw Wyckoff consolidation ranges, that I'm pretty good at them, but there's always more to learn, right? So here, this is where support starts coming in. Oops, it's way too large. We got our preliminary support there. This is our selling climax. This is our automatic rally. This is our secondary test. With that, the lines that we would draw, this means our trading range would look like this. Boom. 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 Probably like that. So this will be our range, and this is what we'd be looking to trade, where breaks of the outer support and resistances, so here at 6.625 and here at 6K, would essentially give us the direction that this consolidation is going to result in whatever direction the trend is going to take next. And then we'd be looking to take trades, and if you are trading this range within those boundaries. Now, the reason I was reluctant to draw this is because usually the secondary test kind of goes near the selling climax, but not quite at it, or below it, I should say. But I will say that's a supply support. But I will say I think this makes more sense. I think this just makes more sense. And then I went to look it up, and I think, let me see. Here. A successful secondary test in the area of the selling climax will show less selling than previously and a narrowing spread and decreased volume, generally stopping at or above the same price as the selling climax. If the secondary test goes lower than that of the selling climax, one can anticipate either new lows or prolonged consolidation. Now, this actually, did have less volume than the selling climax, but it was still pretty high, and it broke and went lower than the selling climax. But the snippet I read out didn't mean that it's invalid. It just meant that the consolidation range is about to be, pretty long, or we might have new lows. Since we broke the selling climax and we didn't continue, well, the new lows is out of the question. We're going sideways, and so that means we're probably going to experience a prolonged period of consolidation. And also, like, the volume, this is clearly this is climaxing volume. Whenever you see Weiss waves, this whole move just completely, this volume is huge, and it very much matches other local bottoms, right? Before there was some type of pullback or consolidation, you can see it each time. And so this is what I chose for my climax. And then this wave going down for the secondary test, although this one candle did have good volume, the wave as a whole wasn't greater than this one, right? And so I think that this range is very valid. Now, this is consolidation. The question is this accumulation or distribution? Right? So accumulation or redistribution, because we already distributed up here and we're going down. That's a very good question, and that's the question. Everybody's trying to figure out, okay, we're going sideways. Are we going to go up? Are we going to go down? And that's literally the key. It's very easy to trade a trending market if you're not using leverage and, decent risk management. anticipating the trend during a sideways market is like the key. That's what everybody wants to know. Are we going to go up or are we going to go down? I'm going to say, first and primarily, you don't know until the breakout happens. There are things you can look for, and so some of the things that we'll be looking for are expanding volume as we approach the top of the range. That'll show actual buying, signs of strength, or expanding volume as we go to low in the range. That'll show actual selling going on in the market and actual signs of weakness. We're going to look for how long we spend on each side of the range. So if we have a very quick and vicious move on the upside with weak volume and then come back into the trading range, we're going to think that that's more like an up thrust and it's a fake out. And it'll let us know this might be distribution. Same thing. That's what a spring is on the downside. If we come down below or near the bottom of the trading range on low volume, but then quickly expand up, that lets us know, okay, there wasn't actual selling happening. Somebody was just trying to get their bags filled for cheap down here. And this is probably accumulation. So that's the first thing. And then even then, although those are characteristics and things you want to look for, you won't know until you have a clean break, either to the upside or the downside. And then you're going to expect a retest of resistance as support and then take off. Retest, resistance as support. Shit. Wow, I don't know why it's not excellent. All right, and after you retest, take off downwards. Only way you'll know. Until then, you just kind of have to wait it out. I will make the case that this is redistribution. One, because the trend is so strong, but I mean, it'll really just depend on if we end up violating the 4 hour 12 and 26 EMAs. Again, you see these have served as faithful resistance each time we've come into them. Now we're inside of here now, and ideally that should look like a down move. Same with the guppy. Let me see, it's the 4 hour. Yeah, every time the fast EMAs turn gray here, gray, downside, gray, a little bit of downside, gray, downside, gray, downside, and now they're gray again for longer than they have been. So if we get a push up, then it's like, okay, bulls are here. There's actually some buying going on, or some prolonged consolidation or lack of sellers, whatever. I'm going to say this is distribution because of what we've seen on the weekly time frames, and we can discuss this because the weekly just closed down candle, pretty much erased the past 2 weeks completely, and actually even took a little more back. But each time we've had a down candle, or at least 2 successive down candles, we've experienced some type of consolidation and then continuation. So here you see this down move, brief consolidation, inside bar, what are you going to call it? Down move, and then there was some recovery. Down week, brief consolidation, inside candle, down week. And then there was some pullback. Down week. This was actually, it wasn't an inside candle because it cleared this wick. But there was some consolidation, some buying going in. But clearly, bulls lost that war. Down week, then real consolidation, down. So, I mean, I'm expecting that same pattern. Down week, some type of consolidation to occur, which is the consolidation that we've marked out here. That's what we expect. So I expect to be in this range at least for 1 week, just based off history. So some type of consolidation. We may wick up. I don't know if we'll wick up and clear the top of this candle. We've never done that before, where we had a down candle and the consolidation candle wicked up above the top of the previous week. So for sure, I mean, definitely not going to wick up to 71, 7150 or 7K. So we might wick up, but who knows where that selling might come in. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell that one. But I do expect this candle to be inside this candle, and then we end up redistributing and heading to the downside. So that's just my logic behind it. And that's really all there is to that. I'll delete this because I know what I'm looking at. The other way to look at this is some type of pennant, I guess. I don't know how you want to draw like the flagpole or the expansion line, whatever you want to call it. But you'd for sure be looking at something like this. I think this makes sense to a degree. Definitely some type of consolidation, some tightening here, where higher low, or high, low, lower high, higher low, and we're really just tightening in here. And then even if you look at the 1 hour Bollinger Bands, I'm pretty sure, yeah, these joints are squeezing. So definitely some type of explosive move to come, whether it's down or up. Bollinger Bands don't tell you. And I didn't see any divergences when I was looking earlier today, so can't really tell. But I mean, this is one way to look at it. And let me see, 1 minus BTC USD. If you were looking at it in reverse, I mean, it might look something like this. And you might think that this is the expanding line. I don't know. This could be a penny. It's extremely ugly, but it's not impossible. And there's for sure some type of consolidation occurring. I most likely would not draw this. I'm just showing you, you know, something you might want to see. Yeah. So that's another way to look at it. For sure have like declining volume, so it's consolidation of some sort. I'm just more likely to look at it through the lens of Wyckoff than some type of consolidation range or chart pattern, excuse me. So I think I talked about everything. I think the last thing was CForex, which I have pulled up here. If you really just Google them, a lot of like Bitcoin's tweets will come up because he's really big into them. Somebody asked me, like, is there an angle to them? Oh, Cashboy uses them as well, but not really. I've never, at least for me, I've never seen a rule that said they have to be 45 degrees or they have to be whatever. The point is that you have some line of support. That support is broken. And then you have a new line of support. And then that lets you know that there's downside coming in. The bullish case is the opposite, where you have a line of resistance that is broken and it forms a new line of resistance that is less steep. It shows that there's buying pressure coming in and the rate at which the selling was happening is no longer sustainable, right? And so you're expecting moves to the upside. I mean, yeah, I also have been asking people, like, is there good documentation on it? Somebody should do a series, but I don't know. You really just have to look at Bitcoin's tweets. He just does it a lot. I think I posted one on, let's see, on Ethereum. Let's see if we can find it. Let us see. So yeah, this is for sure Ethereum, where you have a line of support that support is broken. And then from one of your connecting points on your previous line of support, you draw a new line wherever the bounce occurred. That previous resistance line turned into, or that previous support line turned into resistance. That doesn't always happen. Usually you may just reach for it but not touch it, but oftentimes you want to see a nice touch. And then that previous line of support is then broken. Very simple. And so then looking at current price, you have kind of like a C fork right here, where here is your line of resistance. That line is broken. It is now support, and your previous connecting line, I'll actually draw it right here just because. Well, actually, and then your previous line of resistance is now less steep than before, right? I mean, this is pretty much just how it looks on the candle view. Again, came up here, resistance around here. That was broken. It was retested as support, and now you have a new, less steep resistance line. And I mean, that's pretty much just how it is. Very quick workshop on it. I mean, again, there's not that much material on it that even I can give you because I've been looking for some myself. Let me see. Nah. I don't know why I want to draw one there. I think it's more like here. I think this is one. Yeah, this was one. Kind of have to fit it a little more, but this is for sure like the idea. Pull it out. I mean, you had some type of support line here. It was broken. It found new support, and then that support was broken. It was less steep than before. It showed a weakening of the trend. So here we see a weakening of the down move. And so that's kind of the idea with that behind the C forks. Just so you don't get too bullish, understanding that line here where you have touch here, touch here, touch here, and we're actually about to approach it. So it would be interesting if we did have some type of bullish C fork that occurred here. Let's see, however I just drew it, something like that. Fuck, how did I draw it? Low key important. Oh man, yeah, I forget. Oh yeah, something like this. Cool. And then take that, do that. So if we do get bullish, we might get fucked up here. So a bullish C fork and a break of this resistance would actually be very interesting. But again, I mean, I'm expecting to go within this Wyckoff consolidation range for at least a week. It's just sideways. I think I talked about everything I want to talk about. Somebody wanted me to talk about JSE coin. They said they wanted me to talk about that, but that doesn't have like a page on CoinMarketCap. I couldn't find it, and so I googled it. Can't go to the website right now. Some type of Ethereum token, July 2018. I know. So I guess it's not trading. I guess it's ICO launching in July 20, or it already launched. Damn, I'm losing track of time. It's August. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say about this. I primarily do technical analysis. I don't really care about the news or fundamentals. I like literally don't even know what's happening with Bitcoin right now in the news. Everybody keeps talking about an ETF. I don't care. I'm looking at the chart. I just want to trade it. I don't really care about like what it does or its utility at this moment. There are some coins that I do like the fundamentals on. I like Dragon. I like Neo. I like Holochain. I like Particle. Zcoin I kind of like. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's some coins. Bitcoin is really the only one with fundamentals that matter. Um, I'm sorry to all you other coins, y'all can't scale, and most of y'all have no utility, whatever. But yes, I don't know what you want me to talk about JSC coin. I'm not going to talk about the fundamentals because I honestly don't care about them. The next thing, the last thing I'll talk about is just really macro stuff. Clearly, again, we've talked about this: lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. And then you have some type of boom, some type of descending triangle joint that's happening. This is how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at each time we enter this area, we have to go deeper and stay inside longer. Pause. Well, I guess that's not pause, but um, to get more buyers. And so here it was quick. Came in here, it was like, oh, there's hella buyers. Quick buying, wick, pop up, right? We were able to pop up about almost $6,000. It was easy. It was nothing. Next time we come in here, okay, we actually had, this was very quick. These are daily candles. This was like a week and some change. Had to stay in here longer. Closed lower than closing over here, right? Popped up, boom. Okay, about 3.5K. Lower low, getting less results. Now we have to come in here, we come down here again. We have to close even lower, and we even clear this wick from over here. And we stay down here even longer, right? And now that gave us about 2.7K. So it's like, okay, again, we had to put in more effort and get less of a result. And so now we're down here. I mean, let's just be reasonable. Like, stick with the pattern until it proves otherwise. We could blast off to 20K today. And you just gotta be fine with that, just because this is not what the pattern showed you. So I mean, look at this: 2 days, then about 12 days, then about a fucking month. What? 36 bars? In this range. And so, I mean, you have to ask yourself, if that was 36, we might fuck around and be in here for much longer. It just depends. Like, and we might go lower, right? We might have to creep down below here because the buyers that were buying at this level already did so. We can't expect to find new people doing the same things. We're gonna have to do something different. It's probably gonna be more buyers down here than there are up here, unless for some reason, this is where the news comes into play. There's something that makes it more appealing to buy in this area. Now, Cash Boy actually was saying that this is a wedge and not a descending triangle. I also think that's valid. I wouldn't treat it like that. But it is totally valid, and if it plays out, it plays out. Yeah. I guess I don't like that deviation. This is ugly. I'm gonna highlight it, but I'm gonna keep going because somebody has to. So you have this little line, served as some support here in the past, broke below it, some interaction here, dump, resistance, this is overbought, dump, 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 cool. And then you look at the bottom line, and again, this is where the lower lows we were talking come into play. You probably have to draw a line like through the wicks somewhere. I haven't had a lot of practice drawing this because I never really thought of this as a wedge. But for sure, something like this, where you just have these lower lows. This was resistance, flip to support, 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 support. And you could for sure think of this as a wedge. Let me see what he had. I'm not trying to, he drew it way better than I did. So this is the wedge that he had right here. Very valid. He was looking at it on the 3-day. I'm looking at it on the daily. So he's drawing a wedge like this. And I think he let those wicks violate. I mean, pretty much the same thing that we were drawing. For the most part. He had here, and then he tightened that up, pulled that out, pulled that out. So, I mean, this is what his wedge looked like for the most part. Let me just get... Oh, he actually didn't pull that out. Okay. But yeah, something like this. Totally valid. Could be thought of as a wedge. If you take it off a log, your lines are going to kind of get fucked up a little bit. You could slide it down. It'd be kind of valid still. This is valid. I mean, this is a valid wedge. It's not wrong. I'm trying to think where you might anticipate it being done. It has to be done before. So people thought it was going to be done there. Yeah, I have no fucking idea. But yeah, could totally be thought of as a wedge. The thing is, when diagonal supports and resistances break, you can kind of recover. If a horizontal level breaks, I mean, that's a clear, like, it doesn't shift if you're on log or linear. Like, it's a level that is no longer resistance or support, and now it's flipped. People are more willing to do the opposite type of exchange. So we could totally kind of oscillate in here, you know, and then pop up. Or once this level breaks, it could be, you know, very bad, because there's a lot of room down here. So I mean, that's pretty much it. Appreciate y'all. Share the video, drop it in Discord, Telegram, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and I'll see y'all later.